Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So I have first of all, we are going to manifest that by the end of this year, you are going to be in a leading role. So we are going to just make sure that happens for you by sending you positive vibes for it.
Awesome.
And we are finally back for another episode of Media from the Heart. My name is Ruth Hill, and I'm so happy that you were here. I'm your host. Today's episode is from a few months ago. That's true. Yes, I admit things have been pretty busy here, but there are lots of episodes coming up, and this one is pretty doggone special. If you are a huge fan of Hallmark, Chesapeake Shores, then this is the episode you want to listen to. Now, you know that they're in their final season now, just started airing their final season on the Hallmark Channel. Andrew Francis plays Connor, and Andrew Francis happened to come on my show right before Hallmark announced that the season was being renewed and being picked up. Andrew is one of those really special people in my life, one of my first people who agreed to an interview. It took a while for us to get that interview set up, but once we did, oh my goodness, we connected, and it was so much fun. I've gotten to talk with him a couple times, but the cool thing was he came on this episode, answered so many questions, and you're probably going to see Andrew in a different light, maybe than you've ever seen him before. This was a fabulous episode, and I'm so happy to be able to share it. So sit back, enjoy this wonderful conversation Andrew and I had. Well, I want to welcome you to another episode of Media from the Heart, and my name is Ruth Hill, and I am your host. Today we have a very highly anticipated, amazing guest. We're so glad that we got it worked out. Andrew Francis is my guest. And I have known him for a while. We go back several years, but it's the first time that we've virtually met because we've never met in person. So this is our first virtual meeting. So it's kind of cool. So Andrew, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here, Ruth. Thank you for having me.
And we also have a wonderful virtual audience who we'll probably be hearing from before too long. But let me just read you a brief introduction about Andrew Francis. I mean, I think he needs no introduction. I mean, the guy is just kind of a legend as far as the acting community and the voiceover community for sure. But Andrew Francis is a Canadian actor and voice actor living in Vancouver, BC. He's been performing since the age of 6 and fell into voice work at the age of 9. Some of his voice credits include Dynamite for DreamWorks, Ninjago for Lego, My Little Pony for Hasbro, and Max Steel for Mattel. And there's plenty more as well. On screen, he's been a part of the Hallmark series Chesapeake Shores, playing Connor O'Brien. And he's also done some other Hallmark work as well. He even did something for GAC not too long ago, that was the new network. My mom is actually in attendance today too, and she only knows you as Connor. You will only ever be Connor. I talk about Andrew Francis. She has no idea who that is, but then I say Connor. Oh yeah, Connor. I know who Connor is because while I kind of knew you before that.
Yeah.
When you played Connor, that was my introduction to who you really were, who you are as an actor, as a professional, and it caused me to look up and say, oh, I saw him over here and over here and over here. Oh, and he did this, and I started looking at your voice work, and I'm like, good grief, this man has all this voice work, this incredible list. If you guys look him up, and there will be links in the show notes, you look up his IMDb, which has all of his credits. It is massive, people. I mean, this guy has done so much voice work and started at such a young age. But then he's done all this Hallmark stuff. Usually he doesn't get the girl is the only thing, unless it seems to be the going trend. Poor Andrew can't get the girl, and you've been kind of thwarted at love even a bit in Chesapeake Shores. Seems like you've had
a little bit, yeah. I think Connor had a better go of it last season, yes. But up until then, it was kind of tough for him. Yeah,
it has been. But you and I first connected back when you were either filming Chesapeake Shores, or you might have been filming Coming Home for Christmas or something like that. It's one of those movies. And it took us a while to set up our first interview, but it was wonderful, and we've had a great relationship since then. So it's lovely to have you now on my podcast. That's exciting.
Happy to be here. Yeah.
So what I want to ask about first, now I don't know if you can tell us, but there's a lot of buzz right now going on. People are talking about, will there be another season of Chesapeake Shores? Is there any way? And of course, I'm not asking you to break any non-disclosure agreements or anything, but is there anything that you can tell us about possibly whether there's another season of Chesapeake Shores?
In that regard, well, I can just sort of state facts. I know that last season, the show did incredibly well. For the 10-week run, it was the #1 show on ad-supported cable networks, and it propelled Hallmark to be the #1 ad-supported cable network. And I heard that someone has booked out the house on the island, but whether that was Chesapeake or not, I can't say. I can't say if there's another season coming. But I mean, those are all really good signs. So, I mean, yeah, that's sort of what I could say from that. So anybody who's watching, go tell all your friends to watch last season of Chesapeake Shores, just in case there's a season 6, so they're up to date, just in case.
Just in case. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I thought, because I'm careful when I hear people saying, well, Chesapeake Shores got renewed, but Hallmark's staying silent about it. And so it's like, okay, let's kind of wait for the official thing. We're hopeful, because it was a phenomenal season. Connor had the most amazing season. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he finally had some meat, something to work with. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So last season, what was most memorable for you last season with Chesapeake Shores?
The most memorable thing for me last season for Chesapeake Shores was just having the opportunity of building an incredible arc for the character Connor. Connor has always sort of been evolving and growing and progressing, but I felt like last season had this just incredible arc where, and spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen season 5 yet, maybe pause until you have. But he starts working for, was it Dilfer? No, not Dilfer was the bad guy, DLP. It's so funny because that's Dan L. Paulson Productions is also our person who owns the show. So he loves to slip himself in there. So DLP is the firm that Connor worked for. And then he found out that he was pretty much being used. And so he decided to quit. He opened his own practice. He found some love. He was taking on a case for his sister Bree because Luke sort of messed up with his parole officer. And then in the end, he has a heart attack and hits the ground. So it went from being on top of the world to being down to coming back up to then being literally down. So that was what was memorable to me, was just getting all the scripts and just reading them and being blown away, first of all, by the tone that Fief and Mark Legan have brought to the show last season, and also the liberties that Hallmark is allowing. I think that they allowed for great storylines and for actors to really play. And I think that was shown in the product and then also in the reception of that product.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was really very impressed with last season. I felt like it was the first season. I'm not saying that I didn't like the other seasons, but I really felt like this past season, it was really going somewhere. It was the characters, not just your character, but I felt like every character had this opportunity to actually go somewhere a little bit different and explore some areas that they hadn't explored before. And I mean, man, when Connor had that heart attack, I think my heart almost stopped for a moment, just because like, oh no, nothing can happen to Connor. Connor has to be okay, and it's like, and you really took us on that journey, and we were able to experience all the emotions along. So great job for you portraying the character too. I know that there are people. I've already got someone in the chat who's saying, oh, they just have loved Chesapeake Shores from the beginning and they're so excited to be here. So, you know, you definitely got some admirers here.
Oh, that's awesome. And of course, I mean, taking nothing away from the first 4 seasons, you know, we love doing those as well. But I felt like this last season was definitely our best season, and we had the most fun playing it out.
Right, right. Although you did kind of have a break there between season 4 and season 5 because of COVID, which kind of
COVID. What's COVID?
I know exactly. Right. We're hoping that that things are going the right direction. They seem to be now. We seem to be seeing a lot of positives. But
yeah,
I know.
I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, to that regard, it was nice to get a call and say that we were postponed and not canceled for that year. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I can imagine, because that and also you had the situation with all 3 of the girls all having babies. They were all pregnant like at the same time. Yeah. And it was just like, you think, man, is there something in the water? Because all 3 of them were having babies and new moms. I mean, that was just great. I was very excited for all 3 of them. But it just was kind of interesting how one said they were pregnant and the next one, and so, you know, you had that too. But I'm so glad you guys were able to come back and safely produce season 5 and following all the protocols. It's kind of like, I don't know if that will ever go completely away. I mean, I don't know. There's probably always, I understand why, because you want to remain safe and maybe some of those protocols now, maybe it's going to be a safer environment just in general for you guys on set.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, production was really, really good about just making sure that all those protocols were adhered to. And yeah, we didn't have to pause or cancel. Nobody got sick. So we were, I think we were safe and we were lucky both at the same time.
Exactly. So you also, I know there was a lot of buzz because I kept watching, although I don't watch, I believe the show is Ninjago, isn't it? Where you, replaced a voice actor who had passed. Is that correct?
I stepped in as his voice. That's correct.
Right. That's what I thought. What I really appreciate about that, and I know the voiceover community, I watched, although I'm not a fan of the show, just because I'm not a huge fan. I'm not like into the animation stuff and into all that. That's just me. And I'm sure there are people who are. I'm not saying, I mean, my daughter would probably be all about watching those kinds of things, but it just I have not made the time to get into them.
But you haven't caught me in My Little Pony either? No?
Well, I watched a little bit of My Little Pony, and I did go to a My Little Pony convention. Yeah. So yes, I know about that, but Ninjago was not quite my thing, although I really do need to sit down and watch it because I know it's incredibly done, and I know it's got a huge following. I just have not taken the time to do it. But
it's got, I think, 6 seasons now, so it'll take you some time to get through.
That's true. That's true. But what I really appreciated is, of course, the voiceover community was really sad when this actor passed unexpectedly.
Kirby Morrow,
yeah. And I watched all the tributes to him. And then the buzz is, oh no, who's going to take his place? And then I know when you were selected, just your response, when you had made this announcement that, you know, you're taking over, and just, you were so humble about the way you went about talking about it, that, you know, you're not trying to take over. You're not trying to, you know, nobody can take over this and fill this actor's shoes and try to be just like him. But you were just, they needed somebody else, and you were honored to be cast in that role. But I watched your interactions, and it just, I was even more impressed with you, Andrew. I have to admit that the way that you handled it, I was impressed.
Thank you, Ruth. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was not an easy process. The lead up to, you know, the auditioning and the whole set of rounds of callbacks and all that stuff. it required me to go back and listen to Kirby's voice and his performance and watch interviews. And I had known Kirby, for those of you who didn't see sort of my tribute, I guess, to Kirby, or my response to taking that role of Cole on Ninjago. We'd known each other since I was a kid. I mean, he was like the leading man voice. I was the little kid in the room. I looked up to him figuratively and literally. He was just an amazing human, an amazing voice actor, and a staple of the voiceover community here in Vancouver. So it was super tough to go and just sort of watch, the 10 years that led up to his passing, just year by year. But when I did get the job, I was honored to step in and do him justice. I felt like that I had that responsibility, and I took it as such. And working with Tommy Andres, who is the sort of lead creator of Ninjago, he was very helpful, and I wouldn't have been able to sort of do the job that I did without him. So thank you, Tommy. But yeah, it was a difficult process, and no one will ever replace Kirby, but it was an honor to be able to voice the character of Cole.
Oh. And it looks like the community was mostly positive, at least the response you got. It seemed like, I'm sure you have, I'm not saying there aren't negatives, of course, there's always going to be negatives. People are always going to be negative about something, because that's just the way people are. But it looks like a lot of the community, a lot of the fans were responding. I think they were responding to the fact, to the way you embraced the role, the way that you paid tribute to Kirby. And then so I think that went a long ways. I think because I saw a lot of positivity, and
yeah, I saw a lot of positivity. I hardly saw anything negative. I mean, I think I didn't really see anything negative in sort of the response and the announcement of the playing the character Cole. But I mean, there's sort of two different sides, right? There's the sort of how I've taken the role, and then what they actually think of the performance, right? And people can not like the performance or like the performance, totally up to them. But I just did what I do, and I held him in my heart as I did it, and tried to bring as much Cole to Cole as Kirby brought to Cole. It's a lot of sounds.
Exactly. So you also were in a Christmas movie, at least one Christmas movie this past season. I know there were so many. So it was the one that was with Jill Wagner, I believe. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was for GAC, which I know is the new network. I mean, I know the media is trying to, some outlets are trying to pit Hallmark and GAC against each other, which gets annoying to read all this. It's like, okay, they can both exist. There's room for both. You don't need to.
Yeah.
You don't
there
need
have
to.
been quite a few exclusive actors working now for GAC, it seems, which is a pit against it.
Yeah,
right?
there is that. But that also happens with Hallmark too. Sometimes you have those because I think, but regardless, so what was it like? Of course, that was work. Now, when you first took on that movie, you didn't know that it was going to be for GAC, or did you?
Well, I knew that. Well, I did. I called Hallmark up and I said, "Hey, is there anything that you have in mind for me for this holiday season?" And we were told no. And so when the offer came in for that movie, since it was a smaller role, we reached back out to Hallmark and said, "Is there going to be any sort of difficulty here?" Because, of course, my loyalty lies to the people that I have known the longest and have been, around me and been supporting me. And so when they gave me the go ahead, I took that role. If it was a leading role, I don't know if I would have taken it, especially, currently being on a television show on Hallmark. But I was happy, and I need to work.
Exactly. Well, I applaud you for contacting Hallmark and making sure that it was okay. That's pretty good, Andrew. I don't know. I would hope that every actor would do something like that, just to make sure that there was no conflict of interest or anything like that. And so,
that's exactly what we asked. Yeah, is this a conflict of interest? And we were given a hard no, so I went with it. But still waiting for that leading man role on a Hallmark film. That's still a bucket list. Yeah,
I know. I think the closest you had was Mr. Miracle. What? Because it wasn't quite a leading role. It wasn't quite a leading role. It was very close. I know. We want you in a leading role because it's high time you get the girl. I mean,
that, fans? Tweet it out to Hallmark. Give the guy a shot.
I know. We want that for you, honestly do. And hopefully Hallmark will, and I don't think that they don't recognize. I mean, goodness, they know what they have in you. I mean, they're not, you are such a huge part of Chesapeake Shores. You are a huge part of the movies where you only play a supporting role. I mean, Coming Home for Christmas, which still is a favorite, is a perennial favorite. In fact, I just interviewed Jenny Hale, the author of Coming Home for Christmas. Just interviewed her yesterday, and then of course Neil Bledsoe was in that too. So
yeah, it was great.
Yeah, but characters like that, and I know that's not your only role, but characters like that, you're so memorable. And you do such a great job. So your time's coming. I have no doubt your time is coming. And your patience, you're very patient. You're also well known as one. People like working with you. I don't think I've ever heard anything negative from anybody I've ever talked to. So that's good. I think that's to you.
And Hallmark has always been really, really kind to me and stuff. So, in that regard, I trust Hallmark's judgment completely. So when I'm ready, they'll know I'm ready, and I'll be there.
Right. And you're content to wait till then. So that's good. But I also know that you have had for a few years now, you have a yoga studio.
I have a meditation studio.
Meditation studio. Thank you. Sorry.
Which I am currently in at the moment, actually.
Okay. Meditation studio. Thank you. Yeah. I think I've been saying yoga studio and I probably get the two confused. But okay. So now during COVID, did that affect your business? I'm assuming it might have had some impact.
It most definitely did. Yeah. So, we were filled to the brim right before COVID. It was March 13th, 2020. And we had found a second location, and we we got picked out of all the other businesses that wanted this ground level, beautiful location. We had the person over to sign the papers, and it's funny. Thank goodness it was Friday, the 13th of March, because that's the reason that we held off from signing a 10-year lease on that day. And we said, why don't we wait till Monday? Maybe today isn't the best day. And so by Monday, it was the 15th, and the world, or 15th or 16th, the world was shut down. And so we were like, what do we do? So right away we pivoted. We started doing virtual classes. We tried on Zoom, but there was sort of some audio stuff. So we were doing it through Instagram. But then we took that time to build an app. And so we built the Everything Spiritual app through our TikTok, which we're just coming up. I think we're at 950,000 followers now. So we're close to 1 million. And we thought, okay, let's build an app. So we built that app out, and just a couple of days ago, we got that app into the Apple App Store and Google Play. So if you're looking for sound baths or some guided meditations with my voice or any kind of stuff, check it out. It's called Everything Spiritual, in any of the app stores.
Oh my goodness! Well, that's huge. I'm glad I asked you about that then, because I didn't know all that. And that's very serendipitous that you decided to hold off on signing that lease. Oh my goodness.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad to see that you guys survived and really thrived even in spite of COVID.
Well, thanks to my girl. I know it's all thanks to Carrie. She's the ultimate pivoter. So she is the visionary. She had the vision for the studio. She had the vision to move to live stream classes. And then she had the vision to create this Everything Spiritual app. Now I had to record all the sounds and go late into the night. So I did a lot of the heavy lifting, but her vision is what propelled us there.
Oh, that's good. Well, I know I have told people, I always do tell people, I say, Connor's pretty great, but it's that woman in his life that is, I've never met her, but I know that she is responsible for so much of the positivity and so much of your success that you've experienced. I know that. And you're always, and I'm not saying anything you wouldn't say, because I watch your updates, and I know that this woman has been a huge impact on your life.
100%. No, definitely. She steered me in the right direction, let's call it.
Yes, and we are all the beneficiaries of that, because I can certainly tell, as much as I have been a fan of you professionally, I can see the positive changes that have come as a result of her influence. I see it, and so kudos to her as well. I mean, I'm impressed by you, but and so I'm glad that you two are still together. 5 years now is what
5 years now.
5 years. Wow.
Although it's gone by fast with pandemics and building. I mean, we started building Zen Den Meditation, the business that spurred everything, a month and a half into us dating, which is kind of wild. So we just got to work, we knew this was good to go.
That's amazing. Well,
yeah.
Well, and she's still with you even after the pandemic?
Well, luckily enough, we have our business right next door to where we live, and my voice studio is in my apartment. So we already almost never left the house and see each other like every single hour of every day. So the pandemic almost gave us a little bit more of a break, because I would go over and record stuff for the Everything Spiritual app. And we actually had more distance in the pandemic than we did in our normal lives. So yeah, we were able to get through it quite easily.
Okay. Because I know you hear the jokes about the pandemic and about how suddenly people, husbands and wives and partners and all the family, they had to be together that's never together, and they just were sick of each other, and it was tense. But okay, that all makes sense. Okay, that's good. That's good.
That wasn't us.
Yeah. So is there anything upcoming? Of course, I know you've talked about your new app now and the growth of your meditation studio. But is there anything upcoming that you can mention? Any other works?
Yeah, what can I mention? Well, a new show, cartoon on Netflix came out called Deepa and Anoop, which is pretty cool. I play a little monkey named Maruti, and he's like, "Whoa, bananas! I love bananas. Give me the bananas." He loves bananas, apparently. But it's about an East Indian family and all of their traditions. And I play the monkey, which I never usually get to play these high voices. I usually, I play the low. Man, you're gonna see this thing, like these low guys. And but playing the high voice was quite a treat. And it was funny enough to get that voice. I was doing I do a cartoon called Johnny Test, where I play Gil next door. And somebody has to read in because James Arnold Taylor lives in Los Angeles and he plays Johnny. And so as I was reading in, I was working on my sort of high voice. And so I kind of just took that and modified it a bit and was able to use it for Maruti. And and it worked out great. So, for all you aspiring voice actors out there, when you're given the chance to read in a character, do it well, and learn from it.
Wow. Well, I love that we could have the audio and then even the video for this, because we could actually hear those voices and it's always fun. I would interview you and other voice actors, but I'd be the only one who could hear the voices because they would just come out in the interview. And so it's fun now that people are getting to hear what I've gotten to hear for years, because I've interviewed several voice actors, and they'll give me those. They'll just like go into their character just like that, just like what you did. So that's fun. That was fun.
25 years in the making. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's so there's that cartoon. Is there anything else you could mention, or?
Well, I mean, there's nothing that's been solidified yet that I can speak of, but I've gotten back into producing. About 4 or 5 years ago, I produced 3 feature films in a year, and I got an extreme burnout from producing, so I took a break. And then last season, when we were doing Chesapeake, I just had a lot of off time, and there really wasn't any place to go. And so I started reaching out to writers and acquiring scripts. And so we have a couple, I can't say too much about them, some seasonal movies that could possibly be going to production, where I'm sort of behind the camera. And then we just submitted a film here. I can't really say the name yet, but for Telefilm. And we have some some big stars attached, which is super awesome. A great director, a great writer, and so we're just waiting to hear back on that. But the producing is ramping up, and yeah, what else for on camera or for projects on camera and stuff? No, it's sort of all tied in with that. So yeah, the producing and the acting is all going to kind of happen at once, which I'm excited for.
Yeah. What about directing? I had to say, there was a question in the chat. Would you ever consider directing?
I would love to direct. I mean, when I got out of high school, I graduated in 2003, and that was in like, I guess, June. And then in August, I was in independent producing school where we learned, I mastered, I guess you could say. It was only a 1-year intensive, but in directing and director of photography. So I would love to direct if given that opportunity. Yeah, definitely. Or at least shadow a very seasoned director to start and learn all the ways, and then move into directing. That'd be great.
Okay, well, good. Well, I want to open it up for questions, and I have a feeling there's going to be probably several people who. Okay, I'm gonna start right here with one of my Canadian friends, Paula Waters. Go ahead, Paula.
Hello there, Andrew.
Hi.
We got to say the A, right?
Of course. Hey.
Just wondering, you've worked so long now with the veteran actor Treat Williams. What have you taken most out of working alongside an actor like him who has done it all?
Oh, where do I start? Treat has taught me so much, so much. It has been a highlight of my career, being able to work with Treat. I mean, we go over to his house on Sundays. A lot of times he rents this big house that has this big backyard, and we hang out, and, he'll tell stories about, his time in the film industry, and he'll give me just acting tips and words of encouragement. He got to see sort of my development from season 1 to season 5. And, when he sees that I'm doing something that could be worked on a little bit, he'll let me know. We have that relationship. But he has truly 100% made me a better actor. I would be not the actor I am today. I would still be talented, but I would not be as talented if I did not have the opportunity to work with Treat Williams. So I am so grateful to have him as my TV dad. He reaches out and gives me a call, every couple of weeks to check in. I do the same with him, and he's always been a rock for me. So I have learned, how to deal with things, how to deal with stress, how to be a better person, and most of all, how to be a better actor.
That's great to see that they give back like that, right? Like an actor.
They say again?
To give back like that is so amazing to know about actors like that they do that behind the scenes, right? And to know.
Oh, he's very, very generous with his spirit, and he's straight up. He tells you like it is. He doesn't hold it back, and that's how he wants it brought to him too. And I respect that. Yeah.
And I also want to see you get the whole cast during one of your episodes now that I know you do yoga. Do it out by the lake and have all your family, and you can run a yoga session.
I'll try. I'll see. I've been trying to get Brendan to come for a sound bath for about 5 years now, and I haven't had any luck, but I will definitely see what I can do.
All right. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
And next we have Dara.
Hey, Dara.
Hi, Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good. So I just started watching Chesapeake Shores last year. So when you guys were talking about Chesapeake 5, I'm at season 5. I did kind of like mute it so I didn't get any spoilers.
Good.
But I wanted to ask, because some of my favorite scenes in the show is when all 5 siblings are together. And I wanted to ask, how did you guys cultivate that chemistry?
I think that was how it was cast. It's this show, I think, is one of the most perfectly cast shows on television, no matter what network it is. Yeah. I mean, Megan Ory brings so many qualities that Abby has from herself into that character. Same for me and Connor, and Brendan. Like, it's just, they cast it so perfectly, and so our dynamic that you see on film is very much like our dynamic when we're off camera. Like when we're sitting in the green room, they're poking fun at me, and I'm like, and then Brendan, if we get into the cast van, Brendan will hold my seatbelt, so when I go to grab it, can't get it. And he'll get me every time, and the girls are always ribbing me a little bit. But, over the years, especially sort of as my energy has changed a little bit now, they'll come to me for a little bit more advice, or they'll come to me in a different way. So I think that the relationship on screen definitely mimics our relationships off camera. So that's what makes it so real. And I think that's why you and a lot of the audience gravitate towards seeing us all together, because we're just kind of playing ourselves in those situations. Like it works, and I love working with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
And actually, you just answered a question because someone was asking in the chat if the cast ever jokes around on set, and you of course answered that. She said, "Oh, he answered that."
A lot of joking around, most definitely.
Yeah. All right, Tammy.
Hey, Tammy.
Hey, Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So I have first of all, we are going to manifest that by the end of this year, you are going to be in a leading role. So we are going to just make sure that happens for you by sending you positive vibes for it.
Awesome.
But my question for you is a little more about being, as long as you've done your acting and what you've seen with the pandemic, how would you say that since the last few years, a lot of things have changed in the world? How would you say that in the acting world, has it changed, since there's probably a lot more where you do it from video from home and you're not actually going in studios? Do you see that it's given more open opportunities for people around the world to become into the entertainment environment whereas before now so many people can upload on videos and send stuff in, whereas before you'd have to have agents and you'd have to go in and do things? Like, do you see there's been a big change in the way that going into the roles are starting?
Yeah, there most definitely has. I mean, both in the on-camera world and the voice world. And personally, I miss the old ways in some respects, because getting into the room, let's say for voice, and you're in front of a voice director and you give a voice and they say, okay, I want you to do this, this, and this, and make it a little bit lower. Being someone who's done voice for so long, I can do that in a snap. You know what I mean? And that's a big part of being a voice actor, is being able to take direction and sort of change what you're doing on the fly. Right. Whereas now, when we're sending in auditions, again, just in like a voice metaphor, someone can take, 20 takes to get that perfect take. And then when they finally get into the room or they're doing the session, you find, oh, wait a minute, like this isn't the perfection that we received in your audition, but it's taking us a lot longer to get there. So it was advantageous for me to sort of be there in the room for both voiceover and on-camera auditions, but it has definitely made it a lot more accessible. I upgraded my studio at home so that I could record and send things in from my booth, from just off my living room. And I think that people, my friend Grayston, who of course plays Jay on Chesapeake Shores, he moved to Salt Spring and he's able to audition and not have to take the ferry to come over here and stuff. So I think it's opened a lot of doors for actors to audition for more from faraway places. But I think that sometimes it can be a little bit of a hindrance once, let's say, an actor books something and you sort of get the essence of their true colors. For instance, I was doing a Zoom call back where it was for a project, and everybody sort of had a favorite going into it. And when we did the sort of live sessions, when it was all off tape from before, you could tell that the person had done that audition many, many times before that, because it was very tough to act across them on that first take. Whereas someone who we didn't expect to be, to shine like they did, really shined being in the moment, right? So there was positives and negatives, but it's cool how it opened it up for a lot more people. And we're all saving gas, and gas prices are through the roof right now. So I'll record at home for now, any day. Yeah.
Well, thank you so very much, and I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for the manifesting.
Yeah, I've already written it down for you, so it's going to be in my book.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And so I'm going to put, this is my mom. So this is Neva. Her name is Neva.
Hi.
There we go. Hi, I'll call you Andrew. I know you as Connor. That is no lie. And this is just a real brief comment. Because of Ruth's job and her interest in movies, and since she was, I think, 6 years old, it's been an ongoing story of our lives together. And we watch a lot of movies. I mean, we watch a lot of movies from a lot of different networks and a lot of series and things. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of them. She knows the writer, the producer, the director, the actor. She knows them by name, and she'll tell me these names. It's like, I don't have a clue who you were talking about. But there was something from season 1 of Chesapeake Shore. I don't know what it was, but you drew me to your character. You drew me to yourself, because I'll be honest, when season 4 ended, it's like, I don't know if I even want to see another season. It's just really, there's nothing. It's so empty. Season 5 was incredible. I looked forward to seeing us after the first one, and your character so drew me in. And you will, as I say, are forever going to be Connor. I'm sorry, but
I'll take it.
Are forever going to be Connor. And I love the movies I've seen you in. You have always just, there's the way you play the role, and you put into the role the person that you create is just amazing to me. And you've just really attracted me to that. And I just want to say thank you. You brought Chesapeake. I mean, there's some great actors on Chesapeake Shores. Truly, there are great actors and name actors. But if it hadn't been for your character, I don't think I would have watched season 2, 3, 4, or 5, because I don't know what it was. I can't tell you what it was, but season 5 was absolutely amazing, and your character. And I look forward to seeing what they're going to do in season 6. And yes, and for the day that you do have that leading role, because you deserve it and you're going to get it. So I look forward to that. So thank you so very much for your great talent and ability and your love of the business, because it comes out. You truly can tell that in the parts you play. So thank you. It's been a joy watching you. Great joy talking with you also. Thank you.
Most definitely. Oh my gosh, thank you. My heart is so full from that. Now I know where you get all your kindness from, Ruth. My goodness.
There's much. Yeah, that's why I love that my mom's able to come on to these, because then people can see that this is where I get it from.
And Ruth, just to speak to that really quickly, in season 1, there's been some changes that have happened behind the scenes throughout the years, right? And in season 1, we were working with a gentleman named John Tinker, who's on When Calls the Heart now, and Tinker came in with a strong vision. And I think that when Tinker had to depart from the show after season 1, and we had another gentleman in for 2, 3, and 4. I think that the sort of power dynamic wasn't sort of sitting where it necessarily could have best possibly sat, and was sort of being dictated in a certain way. But then when season 5 came around, and we had a different management right at the top of Hallmark, and a new showrunner and executive producers who had a strong vision, that vision that they first pitched for season 5 did not change. Whereas 2, 3, and 4, it kind of went in a different direction, for a multitude of different reasons. So I think that's a big credit to Fief Sutton and to Mark and to Wanya and Lisa and Randy and Lori and Kate and everybody at Hallmark for going with Fief and Mark and sticking with his vision and making the necessary changes that needed to be made at the last minute last season to stick with that vision and have what I think and many have said is definitely the best season of Chesapeake Shores yet. So fingers crossed that leads to many more.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, Paula Cooley, you are up.
Hello. Quickly, I have to say, I agree with everybody else. You need a starring role, but you've got to keep that hair and that color, because I love it. It is
Sweet.
the best.
This is the long probably anybody's ever seen it.
Yeah, it's the best. You look so different. You could just, it's just a different person. And that's
I'll keep that in mind.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. And I agree with them also. I loved your storyline. You are my favorite also. And I know it's important for you to get that star one, but you were in so many other ones as the secondhand person, like, and so more memorable to me. I mean, really and truly, that trading Christmas is on my watch list, and I watch it once a week. I mean, it just is, insane. But I didn't know, because I've only seen you through the movies. I didn't know about your voice overalls, and I couldn't believe the list. So I just quickly wanted to ask. It said at age 9. How at age 9? You're either tap dancing or playing baseball or something. How did you come up with voice acting at that age?
That's a super good question. Yeah, I was actually doing commercials since the age of 6, and I got into a show called Lamb Chops Play Along with Sherry Lewis. And I did that for 2 or 3 years. And when Sherry sadly passed away, that was right when I got braces. And so they didn't want me to be doing cereal commercials and my brace face anymore, even though that should be okay. But it wasn't the look they were going for. And I really loved performing still. And so we thought, okay, I think my agent said, well, there's this voice acting stuff. Do you want to give that a try? And so I went in and I saw a director named Carl Willems for I think it was Sammy the Squirrel, I think it was called. And I was auditioning for Sammy, and I happened to book it. And I still work with Carl to this day. So we've been working, almost 30 years. But it just it started everything off. I was very good at it because I had experience taking direction through sort of the commercial world and doing small gig parts from 6 to 9. And they were looking for actual kids to play kid voices, where a lot of times it's kind of the Bart Simpson thing where you have a woman playing a kid's voice. And so when they can find a kid who can take direction and do well in that part or different parts, they keep hiring you. And so it led to me actually being homeschooled for 2 years. For grade 10 and 11, I was doing so much voice work that I had to get homeschooled. But I credit that to getting a lot of direction in film from 6 to 9, and then taking that leap, going to that audition, and thankfully booking that first one. And that's what sort of set off the whole chain of events.
Just a little, because I don't know how it works, is when, especially at that age, are you seeing the actual cartoon or film, and then you're speaking? Some of them are Japanese, and you see the different language, and the voices are off. Are you watching the film and you're reading it to that?
Yeah, so for that one, yes. For that one, and like Monster Rancher, which was a big one done at the same studio, which I think we did 110 episodes, that would be called like dubbing, right? And so, yeah, there's a little screen, and I watch the Japanese, and as my line comes up, there's 3 beeps, beep, 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 and then I start talking as the character starts talking, and I do my best to match my mouth flaps with the flaps. That's what they call the mouth flaps of the character. And then there's also prelay. So there's a different type of cartoon, and that's where you pre-lay down the voices, and then they do the animation afterwards. So cartoons like Dino Trucks or Slugterra or Ninjago are prelay, whereas like Gundam and Dragon Ball and that kind of stuff would all be dubbing. So yeah, just a combination of the both. But I started in dubbing, which is a lot harder, funny enough. So I kind of went through the boot camp and then got broken free.
You were lucky. Yeah,
definitely lucky. Very, very lucky.
You got a good voice. Thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah.
All right, we have Janet here. You. This is good. Got lots of people here.
Hey, Janet.
But we'll hold it at 2. Don't worry. I'm watching the time.
Thank you. Yeah. Hi, Janet. How you doing?
Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm a teacher, and my students love you. We've watched part of your show in class for education, but they had a question for you, that if you had a starring role, who would be your leading lady?
Ooh, who would be my leading lady? Well, I really like the actress Erin Boyce. Say again, sorry?
These are high school students, so.
Right. Well, I mean, there's so many great choices. There's an actress that I've been speaking to lately named Erin Boyce, who I think is very, very talented. But it's tough to say. I mean, I loved working with Danica McKellar, but we've done so much together. It would almost be interesting to go and then play that leading character with her. Let me think. It's a great question. Who else? I mean, some people have said to pair me up with Amelia, but I think that might be a little bit weird since she plays my sister on Chesapeake. But you know, any of the talented women that have done Hallmark leads, I would love to work with. I mean, Britt Irvin was the closest, right, in Trading Christmas. No, sorry, that was Emma Lahana in Mr. Miracle. That was the one with Britt. So Britt would be awesome. Aaron Boys would be great. Sometimes there's a little bit of an age difference, you know, sometimes the women are a little bit younger than the men necessarily. So I don't know, an awesome up and comer, I think. But really, you know, above all else, someone who is a great actor, really someone who can just get in there and I can find chemistry with and play with, and we can really bring a story to life, whoever that may be. So I don't necessarily have a favorite, but yeah.
How about what kind of scene would you like? A criminal, a murderer, a good guy, bad guy?
Well, funny enough, I've been nominated for awards on both of those sides. Like Past Never Dies, I played a kidnapping murderer and I got nominated for that. And then I've been kidnapped on a movie that I produced called Deeper, The Retribution of Beth, where I got nominated as well. So I think that I would like to play a romantic lead. That would be a super, super awesome thing because I haven't done that yet. So yeah, that's definitely a bucket list item, is playing a romantic lead on a Hallmark movie.
Okay, thank you very much. It was nice meeting you.
Yes, and best to your students.
And someone just said maybe you and Lacey Chabert.
Lacey, I love Lacey so much. Yeah, that would be really great. Yeah.
All right, Vicky, okay, go for it.
Hi, Andrew. Nice to talk to you. I'll keep it short. I just wanted to say I really agree with everyone else saying that season 5 was really nice and had so much more spice compared to seasons 2, 3, and 4. And I wanted to ask you, since we sometimes hear that if people play a character, actors play a character for several seasons, they said that somehow they become more like the character and the character becomes more like them. So would you consider that there is something about this that you adopted from your character Connor? And what was your favorite part about playing Connor?
Oh, great questions. And thank you so much for them. You are spot on. When I read the scripts all throughout the seasons, I kind of look over my shoulder and go, are they watching me when I'm not like here? Because it really feels like they just know sort of where I am at in my development. And there's been so much synergy between my own personal life and Connor's life. I have grown up with this character. I mean, now going on 7 years. Yeah, there's definitely, I've become a lot more like Connor. And I think that last season, especially Fief Sutton and Mark and the other writers and producers really sort of found how I mesh with Connor the most. I felt so in tune with that character. And, you know, whenever I got the scripts, I would literally read them like 10, 20 times in a row and have like the entire, because we do block shooting, we do 2 episodes at once. I'd have the 2 episodes memorized already just because I was so excited. And it was so easy to memorize because it felt like me speaking. So yes, I definitely have taken a lot from Connor. And I think that they have taken a lot from me and put that into Connor. And I think that any scene when I'm with the siblings and on the families together is super fun. And of course, it's great working with my bro, Brendan Penny or Kevin on the show, because, you know, we stay on the same floor in the hotel. So right when we get off, we're usually in, well, except for last year, we're in the same van going back, playing jokes on each other. Then we get the chessboard out, we're playing chess. So I think my favorite moments have been off camera a lot of the times when I'm there. But learning and working with such talented people, that's been my favorite.
Yeah, I can only imagine that working with that cast must be fun.
It's so much fun. Everybody brings their own type of fun to it. And Diane, not to mention, I mean, working with such a legend like Diane, she's been such a supporter of me and I've learned a lot from her. So yeah, I think my favorite part about everything has been playing a character who is so layered and getting to play that character around such talented people and having a network that supports us so much.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you, Vicky. So as we close things up, and I know we got to most of the questions, there might be one or two, but we can always bring you back at another time, because of course we will. There's no doubt about that. But the request had been made. Do you think it would be possible to end with a short meditation? Would you be able to lead us all in a short meditation, or would that be something you could do?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Anybody, of course, yeah. Anybody who'd like to take part in this meditation, I invite you to close your eyes. Drop your shoulders, let your jaw relax. And slowly bring your awareness to the subtle sound of your own exhale. And as you start to draw your energies back from anything that's happened this morning or anything that's going to happen this afternoon, just start to feel your pace slowing down. And remember that meditation is not about blocking thoughts out. It's just about noticing and observing the thoughts as they enter your mind's eye, allowing them to pass and coming back to your breath. So just take a moment, breathe into your stomach first, then your chest, right to the tips of your shoulder blades. And exhale. One more big deep breath. Inhale. And exhale. For a moment, think of something that you are grateful for in your life. And as you inhale next, allow yourself to inhale that loving, kind, caring, compassionate energy. And as you exhale, just let that go out into the universe as a vibration. If you'd like, you can bring your hands to your heart. Just spend a moment thanking whatever higher power you believe in, whether that's God, the universe, whatever it is to you. One more big deep breath in. And exhale. In your mind's eye, say thank you, thank you, thank you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes again and come back to your bodies. Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Andrew. My goodness, that meant a lot. So thank you for being willing to do that. And if you as we wrap things up, if you guys want to unmute and thank Andrew as he's leaving here, if you'd like to do that.
I want to thank everybody for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for doing the meditation.
Thank you.
I think this was the perfect ending.
Great.
Yeah. Perfect.
It was
yeah.
indeed.
Meditation. And remember, of course, my pleasure.
I don't even know where to begin. This was an episode that did take some planning. We had a few detours along the way, but once we got this set up, Andrew Francis, my goodness, that kid has grown up into such an incredible young man. And I can hardly wait to see him in a movie where he plays the lead. He has certainly earned his dues, and I'm so excited for him that will finally happen. I am manifesting that right along with our audience members. I hope that everybody is tuning into Chesapeake Shores, that you're watching for all these special things coming for Andrew. Be sure to check out his app. I mean, my goodness, this was like the beginning of his app, and that meditation. I'm so glad that was a suggestion by one of our audience members. You guys are incredible. You know that this show would not happen without you guys.
So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, I'd love it if you would subscribe, rate, and review. If you're listening, watching on YouTube, thumbs up, subscribe. That'd be awesome. Join my Facebook group. Don't you want to be a part of the audience? We've got more episodes coming up. I know we're kind of taking a hiatus a little bit with the summer, but we're getting back in the swing of things and exciting things are coming. So I just want to thank everybody for your support, your kindness, and hey, you go about your day today. Remember, we're all pulling for you, and there is nothing that can stop you. And just remember, breathe. God bless.